Nick might have a few bits more, but I mean, the primary things I've got from listening to you today is, other than I've picked up the point from Councillor Nunn about the CGR consultation documents and opening those, it's really about three areas: to explore the powers as far as possible to take action for management companies acting unreasonably, ensure the management companies are avoided as much as possible, and to support as part of the hierarchy, and to support parishes and residents to set up and manage open spaces and avoid use of management companies.
Alec, do you have anything to add?
That was it.
Okay.
The decision about commuter centres, sorry, and the decision about the level of commuter centres.
Okay.
So what does cabinet or members want to do about that, and how do they want to pitch that?
Of course.
And that is, I do favour the district council in the first instance taking on open space. So if we could look at the hierarchy, I'm sure the cabinet are not going to agree with me, but I just want to get it on record if possible. Thank you.
Based on those recommendations that's read out by Leah and the one that's just been added by Councillor Wellband, is there anybody that is against that being our recommendations? Because if there is nobody against and there's general agreement by the panel, then I'm happy for us to just confirm those and we'll put them to cabinet, and that will close this item. I'd lastly like to thank for the presentation from Rebecca and Sorrel and Councillor Galton and Matt and David Atkinson and the guests in the gallery for joining us on this quite lengthy item. We will move on to item 6. So on item 6, so we've got basically one more meeting of this panel in May before annual council, and currently on there is on the May 7th is 5 items to be considered. Now bearing in mind it's nearly 8:30 and we've only considered one item this evening. I appreciate not every single meeting the items are going to be necessary this long. But what we did in my first year as chair, we generally had maybe 3 or 4. Now, it's just a personal view. I personally found towards the end the debate wasn't as robust as it was at the beginning. So what we've tried recently is to have 2 items. Again, a personal opinion is I think that has worked better. But what has happened is we've not had reports available, for example, tonight, which is why I've just got the 1 item. And what that's led to is a very packed agenda for May 7th. So it's not, in my view, down to me, it's down to the panel. We could keep all 5 items on the agenda for May 7th. My view would be that would probably not be a good idea. And I'm looking at members and they don't seem to think that would be a good idea either. So we should decipher how many and what could be removed. My understanding would be, Lee, if we were to remove an item, it doesn't go into the oblivion. It just gets moved on to the work plan for the following year. Is that correct?
I think it's the classic do, drop, defer, delay type approach. So as you say, if you want to take anything off, when we start looking at forming the work programme for the next civic year, we've got some items that are ready baked that could go sort of to your early meetings and gives us time to shape the later items. So deferring a couple of items might be a useful approach.
Yes, so I think if you look at page 193, they're on there. I'll just quickly read them out to you. So you've got delivery, provision and management of affordable housing across the district. That's 1. Item 2, decisions or actions taken in connection with the discharge by the council of their crime and disorder functions. Item 3, decisions or actions taken by the Community Safety Partnership. Item 4, operation of civil enforcement service. And item 5, declaration of a nature emergency alongside a portfolio update. Does anybody have any strong opinions on stuff that really doesn't need to be discussed at May 7th? Councillor Nunn first.
Well, I suppose if we're going to take a couple off, I suppose my thoughts is that 2 that go together, whether they're the ones that are kept on or whether they're the ones that are deferred, would be the crime and disorder functions and the Community Safety Partnership.
That's
Because-
2 and 3, is that
Yeah,
correct?
because they seem to align together,
Yeah.
don't they?
Okay, I would agree with that. Councillor Wellband, was that along the lines of what you were about to say?
Yeah, it was. And to be honest, I think we should defer the nature emergency as well, to be honest. I think the really important ones here, and certainly I get a lot asked about a lot of awards about the civil enforcement. I definitely think we should keep that on. Affordable housing, I think we should keep on. Yeah, so broadly in line with Councillor Munro's just said.
Yeah, so I would say for me as a council priority would be item 1. I've wanted to discuss that for some time. So if other people are happy to do that, that would be a good one to keep. I also would agree operation of civil enforcement service. I personally would also say declaration of a nature emergency. I'm not really sure what we're going to, how much of a discussion that will be anyway. Councillor Elliott, did you want to contribute? Well, this is unusual. So, but it's nice. So this is what I'm going to suggest. We're going to keep item 1. Sorry, Councillor Nunn.
Yeah, but I do think 4 is too many though for one meeting. If we
Four's
can
too-
reduce it somehow. Yeah,
Yeah, so if we were to go with item 1 and item 4, so we have a 2-item agenda, and then it's for the next panel, the work plan of the following year to decide whether how they want to approach the remaining 3. Is that all right?
I will just say, I will pull my monitoring officer hat and insist that the first meeting after the new civic year does look at the community safety partnership, because that is a statutory requirement that if we know that, we can manage it.
Okay. I think we're all in agreement. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to take a vote on that. We're going to stick with items 1 and 4 and defer the remaining 3.
Item 1 takes up the meeting.
I
Certainly those.
Yes, well, hopefully with it being just the 2 items, I'm hoping that should be it should be sufficient. But yes, I agree that is going to be a chunky item, and I think we'll all have a lot to say on it.
Very, very quick. On the civil enforcement, is the plan to get LCC here as well? Because obviously that includes them as a partner. Yeah, I think that would be helpful. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. That's easy. Right, let's move on to item 7, scrutiny recommendation tracker. So the scrutiny recommendation tracker, which provides an overview of the recommendations made by the panel, and the panel is invited to review the outcomes of those recommendations. Has anybody had a look through this and want to make any comment at all on item 7? Okie dokie. So I will just move on to item 8, which is any urgent business. There is none. So the time is 20. I
sorry,
do apologise.
just very quickly, that's all right. Just on that tracker, I think that's really useful to get actually, because we don't need to do anything with it, but it gives us a chance to read it, you know, and see what has been done. So I do think that's useful. So thank you.
Thank you for that feedback. Myself and Councillor Finan, have had quite a long discussion with the officers about this, and we would also agree that it's good to see what's going on with the feedback as opposed to it just being passed on and never spoken of again. So thank you for that feedback. Okay, so with that, it's 29 minutes past 8. I declare this meeting has ended.